All right, guys, and what is going on tonight, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993 coming at you for my live review of Survivor Series 2018. Just like last night's phenomenal show of NXT TakeOver War Games 2 took place at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. Of course, as always, we're going to take a look back at everything that happened on the show. All the matches we had. We had 7 matches on the main show. One on the pre-show that, FYI, didn't count, apparently. But we'll get into that in a second. My overall thoughts on the show. A mixed bag of results, I gotta say. Because, let's put it this way. Up until, I'd say, the men's Survivor Series match, like after that match finished, I had a very, very bad taste in my mouth for this show. Like, I was all set to pretty much give this show a terrible rating. I'm still going to be ranting about things in this show. The last 2 matches, I got to say, kind of lifted my spirits a little bit. Because here's the thing. There were 4 matches on the show that I actually could say I enjoyed. A couple other ones, I'm like, they're okay. One that I was not pleased with at all. Mainly because, and the biggest thing, I didn't give this grade. I mean, I know I probably gave this grade a little bit higher than some of my friends probably gave it, again, because I enjoyed some matches. But the biggest problem I had with this show were finishes and the results. And it just, once again, drove me nuts to the fact that while I keep saying this year after year after year, well, more so this year than from the past years, but especially last year, I'm like, Survivor Series can't always be just Raw versus SmackDown, bragging rights. There was nothing on the line. Oh, I'm sorry. Here's what kind of was up on the line tonight. Stephanie McMahon pretty much telling Baron Corbin that his job was up in the air if Raw did not sweep SmackDown tonight, or something like that. Something like that. After she said that, and when Raw started racking up win after win after win, I'm like, they're going to do it. They are seriously going to do it. They are going to do this and make SmackDown, for the most part, look like a joke. That's what pissed me off about this show. And a few other little things also. But I still get to it. There was a couple matches I enjoyed in the show. So with that, I got to say the Survivor Series to me had some goods, had some bads. A very inconsistent show. If some of these finishes and like the results, like, like a concept, like, again, as I keep saying, a stipulation, the winning brand gets the main event of WrestleMania, or the winning brand gets, like, a couple extra spots in the Royal Rumble, or the winning brand gets to take someone from the opposing brand, or something like that, or the winning brand gets the the next NXT call-up, something, just not freaking bragging rights, or a general manager's career who we literally don't even give 2 shits about at this point. Literally, not at all. And to me, not a few, but not a lot of people came out of this pay-per-view looking strong. So that's why, of course, I gave it the grade that I'm going to give, which I'll share, of course, towards the end of the show. So I will be doing a little bit of ranting in the show, but again, there was still some stuff on the show that I actually did enjoy. Some stuff could have been better, and some stuff I'm just like, big time. Before we get started, as always, let's check the chat of live, as I like to call it, and let's see who we got here. Let me see here. What's going on, Mark? How are you? I'm not too bad. How about you? I don't get it with all the heel turns. There's definitely a lot of them, although I did like tonight's. But however, I will mention one. I will do the turn alert after this review. I will mention one thing I'm a little bit worried about that heel turn, but I will mention it in my live review. One thing that worries me. What's up, T and Coupon? Doing pretty good. Larry thought that it was a shitty pay-per-view, which, again, I'm going to say, it was just inconsistent. Again, there was things I enjoyed in the show, but I definitely agree. What brought my grade down definitely was the results of this pay-per-view. The finishes and the results is what made me despise some stuff in this pay-per-view. Again, if it wasn't for those last 2 matches, I probably would have given this pay-per-view a lot lower grade than I seem to have given. I'm being a little bit nice here, saying, oh, these are good matches. But then, again, I'm saying, these finishes sucked, and the whole concept behind this pay-per-view just sucked to begin with. So a very inconsistent show for sure. Robbie, what's up, Robbie? He said, I really hate how SmackDown looked horrible tonight, and certain booking decisions, especially the one involving Drake Maverick, were just ridiculous. You just lit the fire in me, Robbie. Prepare for me to literally go off about Drake Maverick. That's the part of the show that probably pissed me off the most. And I say pissed as in angry. And me saying pissed is referring to something else involving Drake Maverick. We'll get to that part about being pissed about the piss, if you know what I mean. Looks like we're stuck with Corbin as GM as he's being booked. Again, I said a couple weeks ago, this is a position I feel like, if we got like the Corbin in NXT or the Corbin before he failed his Money in the Bank cash-in, I feel like he would literally nail this role with a T. But he's not. He's being booked in a way we don't want to see him on the TV. And you want to know why? And I hate to say this because I know there's some Stephanie McMahon fans in there, but they're pretty much booking him just like Stephanie McMahon. He can't be touched pretty much, but he just bashes people just for hell of it. And it's just not something that we can take seriously to the point where it's like, get off our TV. I hate you. I never want to see you again. That's what's going wrong, of course, with Baron Corbin. Let's see here. We got Lauren. What's up, Lauren? Saying she's so pissed. Yep, the Drake Maverick thing was indeed pathetic, and I'll explain, of course, towards the end. She gave Survivor Series a D. Hilary's like, I'm good, not crazy yet. So fucked up they jobbed SmackDown for real. SmackDown is definitely the superior brand. Tia Kupar enjoyed Charlotte versus Ronda. We'll discuss that heel turn, of course. Yes, I did hear and I did see the video. Enzo Amore was in the crowd. I think it was during the Cruiserweight here. I have the results up here. It does mention when Enzo appeared, but Enzo was in the crowd tonight. What's this? It was after the Raw Tag Title match. Apparently, it was during the Raw Tag Title match. Enzo was apparently at ringside trying to do his usual crap. Of course, didn't quite recognize him with the beard, and he was escorted out of the arena. So yeah, Enzo tried to hijack the show pretty much. It seemed like, but bye Enzo. You're not coming back anytime soon for sure. But that was funny. Lauren thought that Shinsuke and Seth was match of the night. 6-0, guys. A complete burial of SmackDown. Holy shit. No, it should have been 6-1, but apparently that pre-show match that SmackDown won didn't count. And Michael Cole flat out said that too. He said that doesn't count. Then what happened to the damn match? Seriously, what was the point of having the match then if it didn't even count? I didn't care about it at all. I didn't watch it. I just know the results. But what's the point of the match if it didn't count? What was the point? Somebody explain it to me. Yeah, definitely good publicity for his album. Yeah, it was actually 6-1. Yeah, we'll talk about Drake shortly. Don't forget to drop an elbow on that like button. An elbow on a like button. I love that theory. And they said Lawler was on commentary, but he wasn't there. I never saw Lawler. Yeah, Sasha and Bayley being on a team was random. Lawler was on the pre-show. Okay, the real heel in the story will be Ronda and her horse women friends, of course, which I feel like it should be. And Shane being the last one again. We'll talk about that. She got all her predictions wrong. I got a lot of my predictions wrong too. Bryan versus Lesnar was definitely good. Authors of piss. Love when I say that. Hopefully Steph will still fire Corbin. She probably won't after this. Exactly. Again, why did they take Paul Ellering away from managing the Authors of Pain? I don't get that. But of course, we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to that match. That was funny. Drake peeing himself after claiming he wasn't scared. I mean, I didn't find it too funny. If you found it funny, it's cool with me, though, man. So true. Did anyone see that, Enzo? Yep, we saw that. That was it. My top 3 worst pay-per-view of the year. Definitely not one of the strongest. It is all over YouTube. Of how it worked with both Charlotte and Becky as heels. Well, I'll talk about that a little bit later on. Think about what that does for Maverick's future. The guy will never be taken seriously again. Bingo! And I'll explain why, of course, later on. What's up, Elite Squad? Enzo definitely stole the show for him, which would be nice. I'll rant about Nia in a little bit. Did you hear the allegations about Ellsworth? Yeah, apparently he sent a 16-year-old nudes or something like that. Come on, Ellsworth. Was Paige rejecting you and firing you from SmackDown and making you that depressed? Dear God. What is SmackDown going to do now since they got swept? Well, I saw Shane post on tweet saying that there will be consequences this coming Tuesday. So whatever that means. Nia got volcanic heat tonight. Oh, for sure. I didn't see the whole details, but apparently Ellsworth is a sick man in program. I heard he sent nudes, but I didn't hear too many details about it. The point of that match was that it was a hell of a match for the fans. Which match are you referring to there? Survivor Series just made the list, and the Becky chance was the best thing on the show. There were no surprises but one, the heel turn. We got Pete Pizzuto. What's up? Do you play with WWE figures? Don't hide it. No, I do not. I don't find it funny at all because that hurts Drake's reputation and credibility of 205 Live. Once again, Robbie, bingo, and you're a genius, Robbie, and that's why we all like you. Of course, get to that. And I couldn't watch Bryan versus Lesnar. I mean, I watched it, but damn, the first minutes were hard to watch. I really thought Bryan got hurt. Me too, Larry, definitely. SmackDown will probably get a SmackDown Live Super. The kickoff match was the match I was referring to. Okay, I get it. I didn't get to see it. WWE needs to build on Nia's heat. WWE needs to stop pushing Nia Jax right now to begin with. He thought Bryan had it. A SmackDown Live star will probably win the Royal Rumble. Possibly. Maybe we'll see where it goes from there. You know, I still think it should be Drew McIntyre winning the Rumble this year, but maybe, who knows. But thanks for the stuff in the live chat, guys. Way to start off on a good note here with the live chat. I will start getting to the results and just talk about these matches, and we will go from there. And of course, afterwards, I will record Charlotte's turn alert and get my thoughts on that. I will talk about it a little bit here, but again, I'll save some of my thoughts on it for the turn alert. So we started off, of course, on the pre-show. Apparently, there was an angle where Natalya and Ruby Riott were getting into a big fight backstage, of course, over, the recent weeks when Ruby Riott broke Jim the Anvil Neidhart's sunglasses. Alexa Bliss apparently kicked them both off and then named Sasha and Bayley to Team Raw. Okay, whatever. We had the 5-on-5 tag team, well, technically 10-on-10 tag team traditional elimination match. I didn't watch this match. Apparently, it came down to the Revival and the Usos to finish off. I was hoping that SmackDown would have squashed Team Raw since Raw's tag team division absolutely sucks. Of course, the only person from Team of SmackDown I wasn't expecting to last at all were the Colognes, who were the first ones eliminated. Looks like a good mix of people, though, got eliminations in this match, though, it seems like. But the Usos win after pinning the Revival. Again, I didn't see the match, so I can't really judge it, but that's apparently how we won. And then we get to the main show. The opening match of this show was the women's 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series elimination match. For Raw, we had Bayley, Mickie James, Nia Jax, I almost said Seth Rollins. Wow. Sasha Banks and Tamina Snuka. Well, with Sasha, Bayley, Mickie in there, makes it a little bit bearable to digest. But Nia Jax and Tamina, no. And of course, what does Nia Jax do when she comes out? Starts pointing to that fist and blowing on it pretty much like it's a big deal. So once again, we're supposed to hate Becky Lynch here, right? I mean, yes, they kind of teased a face turn with her last week whenever she named Charlotte her replacement. And now we have Nia Jax building on the fact that doing that, which then again, she's not getting, just real, just heel heat for that. She's getting like the white heat where it's like people don't even want to see her or get opportunities. And of course, when most people do stuff like that, they injure someone, they get punished for it, right? No, not Nia Jax, because she's related to The Rock. We'll rant on her in a second, though. Against Team SmackDown, though. Team SmackDown, which apparently Naomi was then named captain, she had on our team Asuka, Carmella, Sonya Deville, and again, at first there was like a fifth member, something to be revealed. I thought maybe get a surprise like Nikki Cross or something like that. They just named it to be Mandy Rose, which, okay, Mandy Rose, had that promo a few weeks ago or 2 weeks ago about how she wasn't selected for the match, but she shoot. So I was kind of hoping they would have pulled off like something like, okay, Mandy Rose teased to it comes out after she's gonna be the fifth member, kind of like how it was with the Miz. I think he was gonna be able to join Team WWE. But instead they picked Daniel Bryan over him. When I thought maybe they would do something like that and bring up Nikki Cross, but instead they just picked Mandy Rose. Like, okay, well, why couldn't you just announce out SmackDown? If that was gonna be the case. So the match happened. There was some stuff like about this match. Well, even though I'm not the biggest fan of her, they gave Sonya Deville a lot of time in this match. There was a spot, of course, also where it looked like Mandy Rose tagged herself in. Was pretty much trying to steal Sonya's spotlight, and she got an elimination. I believe she eliminated Mickie James. Yeah, she eliminated Mickie James. But then, of course, she eventually tapped out to Sasha Banks' bank statement. But, of course, the first thing I hated was Naomi was eliminated early by Tamina. And then, of course, Carmella was my hero because she came in looking fine as ever, I shall say. Carmella looking pretty good tonight. She came in, rolled Tamina to eliminate her, and did a dance break. Oh, by the way, also, apparently R-Truth on the pre-show also was trying to get onto the women's team, but they're telling him, no, you can't, you're not even a woman or whatnot. And he also tried to apparently get on, I think he was on Team Raw, and he's like, no, you're not even on this team. So then he goes over to Team SmackDown saying, oh, I want to join SmackDown because Raw sucks or something like that, pretty much. I forgot to mention that because we were talking about Carmella. But so eliminations in order when Naomi, not Namina. Naomi was eliminated by Tamina, which I hated that elimination. And then Carmella, thank God, eliminated Tamina. Mandy Rose eliminated Mickie James. And then Bayley eliminated Carmella with a Bayley to belly. Sasha Banks got Mandy Rose to tap out. And then, again, they gave Sonya Deville a lot of time in this match for SmackDown. Sasha Banks also was, I say, for Raw, was the workhorse. And Nia Jax really did diddly squat in this match, besides started off a little bit. And every time she got in, she got the hell booed out of her. As Larry says, the boos were volcanic for Nia Jax. But then they had Bayley and Sonya both get counted out by a double elimination. So again, since they're starting to tease some type of tension between Sonya and Mandy. And even though I keep saying that, I feel that Mandy Rose should be the babyface. I feel like I don't know. I feel like she's more popular than Sonya because, let's face it, as I keep saying, Mandy Rose is freaking hot as hell. Sonya Deville, she's not bad looking either, but I still not the biggest fan of her matches. Every time I see her wrestle, it's like she's doing a slow sparring match. I mean, I thought tonight, I'll give her credit. This is one of Sonya's better performances. Like, she got a good amount of time out of all the SmackDown women. I wasn't a fan of how they just eliminated her by having her and Bayley get a double count. Like, why? What was the point of that? But I am interested to see, if they do split up Mandy and Sonya, because I keep saying, when they first came over to SmackDown and Paige is trying to get them to, realize that, hey, Absolution's dead. She's trying to get them to, be able to compete on their own. I'm like, okay, like, that's something that interests me. Let's see what these two can do on their own, because as a team, they're not much. They're just a duplicate of the Iconics right now, pretty much. I know that they probably have a lot more work to do. Yes, they're brought from NXT way too early, but I think let's put them up by themselves. I'm a little interested to see what goes on with that, because, well, then again, if you're on Raw, then unless your name is Alexa Bliss, Ronda Rousey, and Nia Jax, you're not getting pushed. But speaking of so I believe it came down to Sasha Banks, Asuka, and Nia Jax. So Asuka's in the match, and she was pretty good with her sequences against Sasha Banks, especially. I really like their chemistry together. They had a really good match earlier this year on Raw. I think it was on the Raw after the Royal Rumble. They had a really good match where Sasha took that nasty suicide dive or whatnot that she kind of messed up and almost died on pretty much. She got Sasha Banks to tap out. And I thought, man, Asuka looked pretty good. She'll dominate. She didn't look like, just, some stupid idiot, whatnot. And then in came Nia Jax. And what did she do? She completely squashed Asuka. Nia Jax did diddly diddly squat in this match. Has so much heat on her right now. Again, not heel heat, white heat, and the fact, again, the white heat is the fact that people use that term for people who you like, I don't want to see this person on TV, they shouldn't get that. So Nia Jax apparently breaks someone's face last week, and she gets rewarded with being the sole survivor of the Women's Survivor Series match. Asuka could have used this win so much more. She could have. Again, to get back on track, what did Nia Jax have to do to prove, oh, she's dominating going into her match with Ronda? We all know she's probably going to lose, for starters. And two, she's not built. She's not been built up as far as, character-wise and whatnot. She's sloppy with wrestling. I'm sorry. I've tried to give her so many chances, but I'm sorry, especially after last week showing that she's not safe to work with. Yes, she can be a dominating monster, but obviously, if she's hurt people recently, apparently she's given Alexa Bliss some injuries. She gave Zelina Vega a concussion. I forgot who else. And then just recently, she broke Becky Lynch's face. She shattered Becky Lynch's face and took away one of the matches we're probably the match myself and a good amount of us are probably very psyched for this pay-per-view. That match could have main evented this pay-per-view. I am not even joking when I say that. That match with Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey could have main evented this pay-per-view. The build was so good, and I was dying to see it. And you make everybody else, no one really benefit from this match. Again, overall, I'd say it was an average match. I wouldn't say I hated it, but the thing I hate about it was, one, the fact that Tamina eliminated Naomi just like that, and just like, seriously. And then Nia Jax does diddly squat in this match, and what happens? She's the sole survivor. And it's doing the whole thing of, what not? Up your freaking ass, Nia. No thank you for me. But so yeah, Team Raw wins that. They win the women's Survivor Series elimination match. So I got that wrong. Well, so far, let's say I'm 1-1 because I did predict SmackDown to win, but Team Raw won the women's. I predicted SmackDown's women to beat them. So Team Raw won because Nia Jax is the sole survivor, and she's allowed to get a push for breaking someone's face. Unreal. Just pisses me off to no end. Being a piss, we'll get to that shortly. But anyways, that's where, of course, we got that backstage segment. Of course, first we're being told that the pre-show match does not count towards the score for Survivor Series, which again, once again, why we have the match. And we have that segment where, Stephanie McMahon pretty much threatens Baron Corbin with his job if Raw doesn't sweep SmackDown thing or something like that, and makes them look stupid like they did. Oh. We then have the IC title versus US champion match. Seth Rollins taking on Shinsuke Nakamura. I first must ask this question. Why on earth did it look like Shinsuke Nakamura came out there wearing a blue onesie pajama suit? It looked like he was wearing one of those blue onesies that, some of us may have worn. Those like that one-piece suit you just like slide into. Like, who wrestles in that? It looked weird on it. It just looked very out of character. He didn't look like he was like there for a wrestling match. He looked like he just got out of bed and decided to kind of, walk into this match. I did kind of have some high expectations for this match, even though I said in my preview predictions, I keep mentioning how literally the fact that I need to realize that Shinsuke Nakamura is not going to be booked as like the mega star we got in NXT, or how he apparently was like the god he was in New Japan as well. So I was trying to lower my expectations a little bit. I can say this match had some good spots. I thought the beginning wasn't too bad. The middle portion of it I thought was slow. It picked up a little bit, getting towards the end. Like, if I could break this down in the fourths, the first fourth wasn't bad. The second fourth was the weakest part of this match. It was kind of slow. Started to pick a little bit of the third portion of this match. And then, of course, the finish of the match, the more fast-paced action we got, like the last minute or so of the match. I'm like, this is what I was hoping to see most of this match. Again, don't get me wrong, we had some good spots in this match, but this is a match between two guys that I thought they were going to, when booked right in NXT, of course, this should have been a really fast-paced match. I felt, in my opinion, give them a good 15 minutes or so, and they'll put on a nice fast-paced match. But instead, it was just that portion in the middle there, it kind of dragged out a little bit. Wasn't what I do like about when Seth Rollins has put on a good match is that the finishes always feel explosive and drama-free. Like Nakamura also actually kicked out of a King Shots to the back of the head, which looked deadly as hell. Like Rollins got hit with that, he was just like on the floor pretty much. Like he looked dead. I thought he was dead. He wasn't though. And of course we had also Rollins mocking him, going, "Come on!" pretty much like he did. I still say AJ Styles or R-Truth gets the cake for me as the best mocking of the "Come on!" because AJ was as stiff as a board going, "Come on!" Or R-Truth was like, "Come on!" pretty much. Because guys, that's what's up. Anyways, but I still think this wasn't a bad match. Like I'd say, it was my fourth favorite match of the night. But again, it could have been better. Like these are two guys, when put together, could put on a classic. They could put on a WrestleMania caliber classic, a WrestleMania main event classic, if you know what I mean. And they went out there and they put on like a solid B pay-per-view match, I felt. I don't know if we'll ever get this match again. So it's like not bad, but could have been better, I thought. Mainly because that again, if you splits up in the four quarters of this match, the second quarter was like where it kind of got a little slow for me, in my opinion. And also, next time Shinsuke, please don't wear a blue onesie again. I mean, I know it wasn't a complete onesie, but just the way it looked, like he was really wearing pajamas when he went out to the ring. No joke. That's what I gotta say about that. I'll do one more, and then we will get to the live chat. Let's talk about this match. My least favorite match of the night. The tag team champion versus champion match. The Authors of Pain from Raw with Drake Maverick in their corner, taking on the SmackDown tag team champions, The Bar, with The Big Show in their corner. Let me first start by saying this. Well, actually, so far, getting back to, of course, Rollins and Nakamura for a second, I thought Nakamura was going to win due to interference by Ambrose, but didn't happen. So, I am 1 for 3 so far. Of course, so far I say I'm 0 for 2 because that one match did not count, if you remember. But the Authors of Pain versus The Bar. I was hoping for a hard-hitting physical tag team match between, a guy like Cesaro, who can wrestle any style, Sheamus, who is a physical brawler the way it is, and the Authors of Pain, who should be two big, deadly monsters. Cesaro had some good moments in this match. Sheamus, physical parts as well. AOP, though, they didn't look too dominating in this match. I'll be real. AOP did not look dominating in this match. They just looked stiff. They didn't really, they were like monsters. It just, I just didn't think they won this match. And they won the match, but they didn't win to me in a good, convincing effort. Like I gave praise to AOP throughout all of 2017. The fact I kept saying, AOP, they're big people, but anyone who faces them was not always cowards. Like, they faced them, and AOP, would win the matches, but they would still bring out the best in their opponents. Especially, as I always praise this match, the triple threat tag team title match we got between them, DIY, and the Revival. They literally made, both DIY and Revival put double submissions on both of them, and they still couldn't keep them down. They look like dominating monsters who also brought the best out of their opponents. Well, this was the Bar looking stronger and AOP looking like they were just two slow-moving big hags in the ring or something like that. I don't know what to say. So that disappointed me. And what I really didn't like about this match is, of course, the finish. First off, and I keep ranting, why on earth is Drake Maverick, even though at first, when Drake Maverick first made, the manager for AOP, I'm like, okay, maybe this is him kind of being like, sort of like, seeming like a heel manager, but not quite. And having him trying to bring out the best in AOP, like not making them, of course, baby faces, but making them just, dominate monsters while Maverick is still, just pretty much doing what he's doing on 205 Live, bringing out the best in his talent that he's in charge of. And that's because of 205 Live, and it's excellent. But here on Raw, he is a full-fledged heel general manager. He cheats. He distracts referees. He moves feet on the ropes. It makes his work on 205 Live look uncredible and make look like a hypocrite. Of course, as Robbie said in the live chat before, and it pisses me off to death. And what pisses me off even more, thinking of a piss, towards the end of the match, we figured somehow the Big Show would get involved and try to screw Drake Maverick. I thought maybe he would KO punch Drake Maverick. Instead, he takes Maverick by the throat and holds him up on the apron. And I'm thinking, like, what's he trying to do? Is he trying to, choke him out? Or is he trying to pretty much crucify him or something like that? I'm not sure. All of a sudden, Maverick's talking like, oh. I'm like, is he having like a seizure or something here? Or is he like, he's literally choking him out and he's just really selling us off? And then what do? They zoom in on Maverick's pants. And from the motion we got from the pants, I was just like, with Bobby Lashley showing off his ass on Raw last week with that pose. Now, apparently he did also on the pre-show tonight. That's a favorite pose. This freaking toilet humor. You think that was funny, Vince? I mean, if anybody thought this was funny, that's cool with me. I respect that, whatnot, but personally, I hated it, especially with Drake Maverick, again, a guy who, again, I just love the man on 205 Live. He's a great general manager, and he's part of the reason why I care about that show is because the way he's booked, way he's treated as GM is the fact that it's a wrestling show. Yes, it has some character-based development on it, but it's a show that needs to be wrestling focused, and that's exactly what's happening. And Drake Maverick brings that out in his competitors, and just the way he presents himself makes it feel that way. That presence of 205 Live feels better. This crap with Authors of Pain makes him look like a hypocrite, a psychopath. You just embarrassed the man pretty much by having him pretend to piss his pants on a random pay-per-view. Are you freaking serious? What did this do for anyone? It did nothing for anybody. I mean, AOP won. I wanted them to win, but they didn't win in convincing fashion, in my opinion. This was Vince McMahon toilet humor to a T. A freaking T. This match, again, did nothing for anyone. Yeah, again, AOP won, but again, it was in convincing fashion. Only thing that came out, I'll ever remember from this match is Drake Maverick pissing his pants. It wasn't funny. It really was not funny. If it was someone who we would want to embarrass, of course, and someone we would want to see happen to, okay, maybe I could digest a little bit more. But to Drake freaking Maverick, seriously, I've loved this guy all year. And I thought first, okay, maybe this thing with AOP won't be too bad. They're beating everyone, but then again, they didn't beat the Shield in the tag match they had. And they never got to face McIntyre and Ziggler, of course. They never beat them. And then one of them lost a singles match to Titus Worldwide. So even though, yeah, they're obviously the best team out of all the tag teams right now in the tag team division, it's still not saying much about them. And I know they weren't on TV for a while. They apparently had some visa issues, so I don't fully put that on them. But dear Lord, you really had to do this, Vince. Drake Maverick, a guy who's 50% face, 50% heel, not tweener because he's a babyface on one show, heel on the other one, and you poke more fun at him by making him piss his pants. An awkward way Big Show to hold him to, just holding him up this high, trying to choke him. Pisses me off. Pisses me off. Vince has to resort to toilet humor. Again, it doesn't feel like it's for our entertainment. It's for his. Again, if you want to do that segment, like, heck, I would have found it funny, or it would have been effective if Baron Corbin would have done it. Baron Corbin could have done it. Let Nia Jax do it for all I care. I don't know. Someone else who, Tamina. Let Tamina do it. Leo Rush. As my friend said too, maybe have like Leo Rush do something like that and it would work. Not for Drake Maverick. Wasn't funny at all. I was not laughing at it. If you thought it was funny, though, again, cool with me. I respect that. But I hated it. I absolutely hate it. And that's the main reason why this is my least favorite match on this show. Let's take a quick break from, of course, the results, and let's go to the live chat. So I got that one right. So technically, I am 2 for 4 so far, but I should be 1 for 3 still because, once again, that pre-show match did not count. But technically, including the pre-show, I'm 2 for 4. Let's see what we got in the live chat. Let me see here. Let's see here. Where was I at? Let's see here. Let me see here. Where were we at? Man, I'm missing a lot of live chat, but that's okay. I think we were right here. Yeah. Elite Squad's prediction for the Royal Rumble is AJ Styles, which, if he wins it, cool with me. He deserves to win it. How do you feel about Ambrose versus Rollins at TLC? I knew it was going to happen. They may make it a TLC match. I mean, I know it's their, well, then again, it's not their first match, but there's the first match of this current feud. Honestly, make that the TLC match. I'll bet you any money. How much you going to bet? I would not be surprised if they made Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax the TLC match. I will not be surprised if they did that. I'd be pissed off, but I wouldn't be surprised. I'd say either make Ambrose and Rollins a TLC match, since they obviously have the history with them being in the Shield and whatnot, or the probable rematch for the WWE Championship between Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. Either one of those should be a TLC match, just in my opinion. So I'm cool with it. She thought Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali was an okay match. WWE finally found a way to make me respect Charlotte again. Heel Charlotte is the only Charlotte. For real, Larry. I completely agree. The Elite Squad, I agree with your prediction. Styles wins Rumble and versus Brock at Mania, which, not bad again. But still, I'd rather see it be McIntyre get that moment. I mean, again, if Styles does it and beats Brock, I'm cool with it. I'm completely cool with it. But I'd still prefer McIntyre. But I'm fine with that, definitely. Revival did amazing in the kickoff match, apparently, which if that's the case, good for them. Again, they deserve it. Again, I love the Revival. Okay, well, not how they're being booked now, but they're just that dominating team with that simple philosophy of no fists, no flips, just fists, and playing that just great psychology in their matches, just outsmarting opponents. They're not really like full on cheating, but they're able to play smart and outsmart people, like The Miz, if you know what I mean. The Miz cheats, of course, too, but when the Revival were a team that, yeah, they had their cheat moments, but they outsmarted people a lot. That's why I love them in NXT. But now they're jobbing to the Lucha House part. But they had a good showing on Raw. Excellent. I mean, on the kickoff show, then awesome. I felt like falling asleep during this whole pay-per-view. That sucks. Did Rude and Gable and the Usos and New Day, which, if so, awesome. Is Ambrose versus Rollins have any stipulations so far? No. That's why I didn't get the SmackDown pre-show when it didn't count, because that tally should have been 6-1. Exactly, but it was on the pre-show. It didn't count. Once again, what was the point of the match then? Pay-per-view ended 30 minutes early, which no problem at all with that. I'm completely cool with that. Vince loves big, sweaty men. Well, he does, but he won't put the title on Braun Strowman. He won't. But he'll book us and he'll overbook him and then not put him on. We'll get to that shortly as well. I was shocked to hear Lars is getting called up. I forgot to mention that as well. It was real on the pre-show and then one commercial that Lars Sullivan is coming soon to the main roster. I mean, wasn't much really left for him to do, really. I mean, he did get an NXT championship match. He lost it, of course. But as I said before, probably my NXT reviews, like Lars Sullivan doesn't really is a guy that he can survive without the NXT championship to get to the main roster. Of course, I hope, he doesn't get like Braun Strowman pushed, like so powerful, but then when it comes to the big moments, they can't capitalize and they give him like a stupid little consolation prize like the Raw tag titles for a day, which again was just so stupid for Braun. Get that little consolation prize. They brought in Nicholas. No offense to the kid, but it wasn't funny. But yeah, so actually in the live chat also, which brand team Lars is going to go to? I'd say I'm leaning more towards Raw. Because I feel like SmackDown is too stacked with too many big heels. And Raw has a lot also, but then keep in mind how many of them are relevant, and two, it's a bigger roster. So I'm thinking when Lars Sullivan comes to the main roster, he should probably go to Raw. I think. Having arrived with good in the match, good. The matches could have been better. It was just a disappointment. Exactly, I agree. Again, the results were what killed my grade. Larry is scared for his future. Of course, definitely. Do you miss bragging rights? I mean, again, like what comes out of bragging rights besides just there's a superior brand? Like, what's the reward? There's a superior brand, but then they can go back to just being their normal selves. And plus, also, it's like there's no tension between Raw and SmackDown until Survivor Series time. And all of a sudden, we're all cool again. We'll be back. We'll have just some weird little heat against each other in a year. Again, build up something more. Again, as I've said, the one thing, again, I'm pro brand split. I'm all for the brand split to give more people opportunities with the exception of, so many titles. But I still want to say create some competition between the brands. Like, have that going. That way, Raw versus SmackDown will have more to it than just bragging rights coming to Survivor Series time. Just my opinion, once again. Let's see here. Is Nikki Cross a one-off deal? I really don't think she should be. I mean, I know she probably has had her dark match with Candice LeRae before or after NXT TakeOver War Games. We'll probably see this match this week, but bring her up. Like I think she'll be up this week, but I would have liked to have seen her been the 5th member of Team SmackDown. Nia's getting that heel heat though. Yeah, but again, it's not heat as in like, we hate you. It's heat as in like we don't want anything to do with you. We're not gonna be happy you're getting your push and whatnot. So, and it's just a match that it's obvious that it's not gonna be that great when she faces Ronda Rousey. The true segments were definitely awesome. Yeah, we saw the segment about Lars Sullivan. Thank you for the reminder, Elite Squad. I think WWE said on their website that the match against Becky was her SmackDown debut. I mean, it pretty much was, but she's not on the roster yet. I don't know if Charlotte's actually a heel. I think she was doing justice to Becky. See, that's the thing that worries me. I'm hoping that she's just pretty much just not saying what Becky was going to do, and then Charlotte and Becky are both heels. Like, that's not the case. Like, Becky should be a full-fledged babyface now after the badass beatdown she did, and of course with Nia Jax going after the and whatnot, and just the way she was last week. I'll talk about that more, but I think it was again. Like, I'm pretty sure no one would try to break someone's neck if they weren't a heel. So I mean, I really think I'm leaning towards more heel turn. That had to be pretty much. But we'll talk about that match still in a little bit. But I'm sure they will wait forever to present her on the main roster. We all know WWE kills NXT stars for sure. Lauren says, I'd rather have Sonya as a face. TNK Partner agrees, Lauren, about Charlotte. Namina, LOL, geez. Like in one of our WrestleMania Top Performance streams where I called JR Bayar. I forgot about that, but yeah, I remember that now. Will WWE turn Becky face now? Again, she needs to be a face, but again, that's the slight thing I'm worried about. I am worried I don't want this to be, Charlotte just saying, Becky told Charlotte to do this pretty much to her, and they're both heels. They can't both be heels. That can't be the case. I'm sorry. No. Seriously, that cannot happen. When it comes to the 4 horsewomen of MMA versus the 4 horsewomen of WWE, I feel that the 4 horsewomen of MMA should be heels. 3 of them are heels right now. 3 of them. And I don't see Shayna Baszler being a babyface anytime soon. She's too good as a heel. She's too good to turn her babyface. For real. So again, I'm hoping that this Charlotte heel turn is just for Charlotte, and also I mentioned this too, and it was literally like right after she exited her Twitter account. She posted a tweet that said, "Boo the woo, screw you all," or something like that. So again, I am hoping that's her firing back at Becky Lynch or something, or her being a heel or whatnot, and Becky disappointed with what Charlotte did. Because again, I mean, I know Becky would have probably been like a badass, but I'm pretty sure Becky would not have tried to take the easy way out like she did or whatnot. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm hoping this is pretty much Charlotte being a heel and Becky goes full-fledged babyface, especially after what happened to her recently. But again, we'll see what happens. I kind of already gave away my turn alert right there. That was a heel turn, but I totally get what you're saying, Lauren. Again, I definitely agree with what you said too. The Raw Women's team was trash except Mickey and Sasha, of course. Rob, let's tweet Mandy Rose to see if we can get her to go out on a date with Mike. Be nice, except for one problem. I think she's dating Tino Sabatelli, which again, it would be nice, but I think she's dating Tino Sabatelli. So I'm kind of screwed with that. So I guess I'm still stuck being single right now, guys, but it's all right. He is freaking confused in the dynamic of the Horsewoman versus Horsewoman story, but I guess we have to wait and see pretty much. I agree. Asuka should have been a sole survivor. Sasha needs to go to SmackDown. Yes. Every time Mike says diddly squat, he reminds me of Ned Flanders from The Simpsons. Oh, God. I say the weirdest catchphrases in them, guys. What makes the Horsewoman thing even more confusing is how they presented Ronda the very last seconds we saw her after the match. She was getting booed after the match, Ronda. I mean, Charlotte was getting the thank you Charlotte chants, which, again, I don't know if that's Charlotte just, I don't know if that's, them, like, they wanted to see Ronda get the crap beat out of her like Charlotte did. Or my thing is also, was that Charlotte, us pretty much thanking Charlotte for, not embracing this whole, Roman Reigns, like theory people were giving her being this, like, white knight babyface and just agreeing just to be a heel again. Like, is what I saw from Charlotte, again, just reminded me of her when she had her hot heel run on Raw. Like, that is really Charlotte Flair. So, again, she tweeted immediately after she exited, the show, saying "boo the woo, screw you" or something like that. So again, I don't know what that, if that was meant towards Becky or whatnot. But again, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that, of course. Dilly, yes, exactly. Oh, we're getting 4 Horsemen versus Horsewoman at Mania, maybe. Mike Flanders, Vince will never put SmackDown over Raw. Even though he should keep in mind, SmackDown is going to be his big show next year. Well, it's a big show. No, never mind. But when they make $2.5 billion over the next 5 years moving over to Fox, so you should be giving SmackDown some praise, Vince. You should. Excuse me. Jericho even said Nia is dangerous. Well, good for him. I even respect him more. Mike Flanders, oh gosh, SmackDown needs to be the A show. It's so much better. Exactly. The talent is more stacked and more relevant on there, but nope. I say the weirdest things. Lauren's 1-1 as well. Nia has injured Alexa, Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky, which says something there. SmackDown buried, and that shows they want to get the big spotlight for Fox. Exactly. Nurse Shinsuke, kind of true. Nakamura deserved this win. Kind of would have been nice. I'm surprised also Dean didn't interfere in the Rollins versus Nakamura match. True, but with a heel general manager going to punish a heel Dean Ambrose for not for costing Raw, though, like maybe he could have attacked Rollins after the match at least, just to make it be a little more satisfying. But even like when Rollins was interviewed backstage when asked about his match at TLC that was made official, I'm surprised Ambrose didn't attack then. So I'm not sure. Which, by the way, also, if you didn't see it yet, the Dean Ambrose Chronicle was very good. I enjoyed it. I do recommend checking it out. Shane should have been replaced. I agree. I thought so too. Rollins, you predicted Rollins win the match. Everyone thought that Dean would interfere, so why would WWE do it? That is true. Nakamura's contract is up next year. I've heard that. I've heard rumors also he may have re-signed also, which I was surprised. I thought he'd go back to New Japan. I got Rollins 2 for 1 so far, Lauren said. Larry says, come on! Rollins vs. Nakamura was the only match that Tina Couponer picked wrong. Oh, wow. I will give Rollins vs. Nakamura a 3.75 out of 5. Not a bad rating, I say, Elite Squad. They said Nakamura vs. Rollins was a dream match. I didn't see it, to be honest. I mean, I thought I definitely, was a match that I wanted to see when Nakamura came to the main roster. Of course, I'm sorry, way before that when he had that glorious match in his NXT debut against Sami Zayn. But once again, I agree saying that, it was not a bad match, but that we got between Nakamura and Rollins, but it could have been better, definitely. Because when he had Bobby in position for coast to coast, he could barely get to the top rope. Shane needs to stop putting himself in matches. Definitely. And also, too, he looked like he was an old man pretty much for parts of these matches, especially when he set up for that first coast to coast. We'll get to that match shortly also. Respect. Lauren still counts pre-show. I don't care. I do, too. We all do. Drake, as I've said before, why put him as a heel manager? Him peeing his pants man look like a joke. Exactly. apparently, yeah, I saw Big Show laughing at Drake, which was quite humorous. Could you imagine Drake and Santino Marella as a team? Not sure how that would go down. The first half of Nakamura versus Rollins was too much stalling and slow walking. The second half was pretty solid wrestling. Yeah, like I said, the first minute or so wasn't bad. That like second portion of it again was definitely slower, but it started to slowly pick up again. The way it ended towards the end, I'm like, okay, we could have had that fast paced action a little bit sooner, which I think would have made the match much more better. Let's see here. Let's see here. The Bar were too distracted by the P situation. The tag champ match and both elimination matches were her least favorite. And oh no, we don't put up with this. Goodbye. No more haters, guys. Enough of the haters here, freaking people. If you have nothing nice to say in my stream, seriously, don't watch my streams. I'm getting tired of these freaking haters, guys. Anyways, Charlotte versus Ronda, Seth versus Nakamura were her favorites. Drake looked like a fool tonight. Exactly. Yeah, that guy was probably talking to me. When it comes to Drake, I guess it better to be pissed on than pissed off, pretty much. Drake claimed he wasn't scared of Big Show. Then he pisses himself. Did you see he was holding his pants for 5 minutes before the incident? Really? I didn't notice that at all. Lashley did the post on the pre-show, for crying out loud. Vince needs to retire and have Triple H take over already. Yeah, just watch that 205 that match, the Cruiserweight match, and you'll see why. It felt like a completely different show watching that match. I was waiting for Leo Rush to go Lashley once he started dominating in the men's Raw versus SmackDown match. He didn't, which again, I'm glad because he doesn't have to do that all the time. Again, when Bobby Lashley is actually like moving and actually beating people up and just instead of just slowly just like punching someone and then showing off his muscles, that's like, okay, enough of that already. When he's being just like a dominating explosive force like he was for a very small portion, I say very small because he, as people like in the live chat, barely did diddly squat in the men's Survivor Series match. I definitely think he's much more entertaining. Drake Maverick, aka Rockstar's Blood, was going to Impact Wrestling. I bet you Triple H is laughing at Drake. Why he'd be laughing at Drake? Yeah, AOP versus Bar was underwhelming. No worries. I'm glad I have a mute button whenever Leo has a microphone. Yeah, again, because it's getting annoying. Drake peeing his pants is only humor for people like Vince McMahon, pretty much. I felt sorry for Drake as well. Yeah, Drake peeing his pants made it in the list. Poor Drake. Gotta feel bad for Drake. That was a garbage moment. Lawrence 2 for 2. When's Enzo's new music dropping? No idea. If anything, this whole freaking it's bad for the wrestlers, the storylines, and the whole field of pay-per-view. Vince 2018 goes an out-of-touch, delusional old man. Well, the problem is also, because remember, guys, Vince McMahon, when Roman Reigns was healthy, was where he realized he hit rock bottom with trying to get Roman Reigns over. He did some of the most desperate shit all year to get people to cheer for him, and none of it worked. And it's unfortunate that the way Roman got the pop that Vince always wanted for him was when Roman Reigns announced that he had leukemia. And that's a shame. Of course, for a couple of weeks, it looked like Vince was kind of rubbing it in that, oh, you guys are cheering for Roman. Well, obviously, we're not heartless people who want to see the guy sick. But I'm not going to rant on that again or anything. The Drake thing he means Rollins versus Ambrose, Jackson versus Rousey will be Raw's TLC main event. Just don't make Jackson Rousey a TLC match. Robbie says, I feel the Bryan and Styles rematch should be a TLC and Ambrose and Rollins should be a standard match ends and no contest so their feud can continue and culminate at WrestleMania in Hell in a Cell. A nice little Hell in a Cell rematch. And because remember, the last time they were in Hell in a Cell, Ambrose lost because of outside interference with Bray Wyatt. If not Hell in a Cell, though, as I keep saying, one suggestion, another match stipulation I want to see Ambrose and Rollins have at WrestleMania, 3 stages of hell. That needs to happen, I still feel. But it still was a great idea, Robbie. Yeah, Corbin attacking Strowman was definitely stupid. Heel Bryan's entrance and funny trolling Daniel is pure gold. It is entertaining. I will give it that. Great idea, Robbie. Strowman gets to do whatever he wants to him now that the show is over. Exactly. Styles had a 32 match pay-per-view streak that just ended at Survivor Series because he wasn't on it. Yeah, again, it was weird not having Styles on the show. And again, over the weekend, people were telling me they heard rumors that we're supposed to get Styles and Orton, and we're replacing Shane McMahon in the match. They could have gone with it. I don't know why they did. They didn't. I would like to see it, but would have been a nice build. Wonder if Styles is healing up. Maybe. I bet Vince will book Strowman versus Sullivan. Wouldn't be a bad match, honestly. He's so done with Strowman, and maybe I'm the only one, but if you're really looking at it, they destroyed every bit of momentum he once had. Oh, Larry, I completely agree. I should be ranting on him when we get to that men's Survivor Series elimination match. Lauren said, kind of glad Becky and Styles weren't there tonight. It was complete shit and embarrassing for SmackDown Live. Pretty much, you're right there. Tia Cooper, I think Sullivan's going to Raw. SmackDown doesn't have a monster, so Lars should probably go to SmackDown Live. Understandable. That's probably true. Well, we might be getting Samoa Joe turning face, it might look like. So we could probably feud with Joe, I'd say. So, I mean, that probably works there. Lars could be SmackDown's Braun, but I say he lands on Raw, unfortunately. Watch Shane turn heel next. Yeah, how many more heel turns are we going to get? Most likely Lars will go to Raw, at least what's saying. You know Lars is going to get lost in the shuffle. Wouldn't surprise me if he did. Or Paige could be turned heel. Yeah, too many heel turns happening. I miss Owen and Zayn as well. They do need more baby faces, more top solidly built baby faces. I finally get what they mean with there won't be a heel and face anymore. It's really dead to the typical dynamic. It is. WWE missed a big opportunity with Owens quitting on Raw. That was definitely disappointing as well. Becky is a face. Don't let WWE control your brain. I want to believe that's so bad. Tia Kumar believes it. She's a face. It's just what they think and what the fans want are two different things because they don't care. Stephanie McMahon claims they listen to their fans. Screw that. Everyone feel free to join the chat, but be respectful and don't be a stupid idiot who just wants to hate. Thanks. Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Ronda was named number 1 in the PWI Top 100. Why? I mean, Ronda's not terrible. I don't think she is number 1. Oh God. Can't believe that. Robbie said, Mike, as much as I love Ronda, when she was getting booed, I was almost tempted to go, look at little Ronda Rousey. Gonna cry? So I saw something the other day on TV. I can't remember what show I was watching. I literally thought of that as well. I'm thinking, oh, look at you gonna cry or whatever heck happened. I think I was watching an episode of Law and Order or something like that when I saw that. I wish SmackDown can come back to Fridays or Thursdays. Would be nice also to spread them out a little bit throughout the week. So I kind of agree. It did look like Ronda was crying for sure. Little Flair Jr., little Ronda in this case. Styles signed a 3-year deal. Wow. Raw gave SmackDown herpes. Nice. What's up, Jay King? Thanks for joining us. Nakamura attire looked really bad for me. Again, it looked like he was in a blue onesie pajama suit or something like that. Maverick's pants got more streamlined than Samoa Joe. Oh, don't remind me, man. Let's see. That is true. It should be past Leo's bedtime. Yeah, that too. Looks like Raw got their payback for the SmackDown invasion. Seems like it, yeah. SmackDown is the one with the Fox $1 billion deal, yet they decided to clean sweep and bury them tonight. Exactly, Jay. Exactly. I don't know why that happened, but who knows? This of you. I have Ronda versus Nia. It could be a tables match. Rather than a TLC match. So, yeah, whatever. Do that, get past. Would have loved to see Elias come out once again on the phone saying his parents are calling him home or something. Yeah, that would have been funny, definitely. I want an Elias concert as well. Joe wouldn't really work as a face, Lauren thinks. I do agree he's better as a heel, but I'm really starting to think that his heel run is hitting a dead end, pretty much, especially after tonight. Just basically just do what he's already doing, except to, the villains. Joe was completely buried. Tonight I agreed completely. Gonna cry. Haters, you just made the list. Yeah, I already put haters and scammers and whatnot. Suck it. Don't worry, guys. Again, I'm gonna tell you guys honestly, the worst heckler I ever got here on any of my streams was for my 500 subscribers Q&A. I had some stupid idiot come on my stream named Bob Johnson, just trashing me left to right for no reason whatsoever, and I kept ignoring all of his messages because that was the first time I had used one of the first times I'd done live streaming. So I pretty much was ignoring him. I didn't know you could block him until like right at the end of the stream. I mean, I kind of laughed about this one because it sounds ridiculous, but he literally told me to go hang myself. That way that my neck could be a lot longer, and apparently it already is. So I don't know if that's true or not, guys, but who cares? But yeah, that's the worst I've gotten on these streams so far. But yeah, I'll get to the last of the results for the second half of the show, and then I'll check the live chat again. So yeah, so getting back to the show, we had one of my favorite matches tonight, the Cruiserweight Championship match, Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali, and Buddy Murphy retained the title by pinfall. Excellent match. Was not my favorite though from these two though. Again, my favorite is still their no disqualification match they had several months ago before Ali started feuding with Hideo Itami. I thought that match was their best one. This one was very good as well. It was fast-paced, a lot of high-flying, and heck, also, Mustafa Ali, if I hadn't said this enough already in my 205 Live reviews, takes, I swear, the most of the nastiest bumps at once. Off the apron, off the barricade, just getting, like, thrown, like, over into the floor. And, of course, Buddy Murphy, for crying out loud, doing those big dives, like big, moonsaults, like, well, I shouldn't say moonsaults because they're not backwards, over the top ropes. He gets so much height on that despite his weight and whatnot. And he's a big man too. Of course, I just get scared a lot whenever he does those near the announce tables because I always think it looks like he's going to hit his head. And also, too, I try to point this out too, because I noticed this in the Rollins and Nakamura match. What was up with that one random thing like an outlet attached to the barricades? It was like towards like the front of the ring. It looked like a set of outlets something attached to the barricades. Like, did they have something on backwards on the barricade? Like, it looked dangerous. I got scared so many times I was going to run into that. But this is an excellent Cruiserweight Championship match. Again, it wasn't the best match I've seen from Murphy and Ali, but it was still awesome. Again, showing how much fight Ali had to get with all those nasty bumps. So, of course, also we had the sick-looking Spanish Fly jumping off of the table and onto the floor again. Every time Murphy and Ali do that, especially, I just love it. I seize that moment, I embrace it, and it's just awesome. I love it, that move. But Murphy did hit the Murphy's Law on Ali to get the win again. I would like maybe for about 5 more minutes for this match, but still, just great cruiserweight action again. Felt completely different from the rest of the show we got so far, and already somewhat wiped out the bad taste in my mouth from that piss ending of the tag title champion versus champion match. But yeah, so Murphy retains the championship as I thought would happen, and we'll probably see Murphy and Alexander again, and for Alexander's rematch, since Alexander's came back on his winning ways on 205 Live. By the way, if you did not see the match between Cedric Alexander and Leo Rush last Wednesday, I do recommend checking it out. It was an awesome match, and Leo sold the hell out of that lumbar check he got hit with. But that was pretty good. Then we got the men's 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match. Team Raw, we had Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre. It's Strowman, Ziggler, McIntyre, Finn Balor, and Bobby Lashley. With, of course, their team captain, Constable Baron Corbin. Acting General Manager Baron Corbin, who just always stood on the side, being annoying the whole entire time. Taking on Team SmackDown's Jeff Hardy, The Miz, Rey Mysterio, Shane McMahon, and oh, that's right, Samoa Joe is in this match, but he was eliminated immediately at the start of this match. I mean, to give, Drew McIntyre a dominating elimination to start off the match, well, before the match started, we had Strowman and McIntyre argue who's going to start the match. But of course, we're about to see Strowman and Joe go out, which I'm like, awesome. I've always wanted to see that match. But then McIntyre tagging himself in and just squashes Joe, which I'd rather see, McIntyre get that elimination, but still, it just sucks to see Joe be the victim of that, which once again, he felt completely buried. Like, if anything, I would rather see him do that to either Jeff Hardy, or Shane. Do it to Shane. Because again, Shane didn't need to be in this match. He didn't need to be in it. But no, that's what we got. And so that happened. And then, like, again, going into this match, the problem I had this match was, yes, SmackDown had a good team with, Shane, Ray, Joe, Miz, and Jeff. The problem is there wasn't any story with them. For Raw, we had pretty much Braun Strowman having his tensions with almost everyone on that team, with Corbin as captain, Ziggler, McIntyre, Bobby Lashley and Finn Balor, and everything too. Bobby Lashley and Finn Balor were just feuding. It was a backstage segment for this match. Why were they sitting there chatting like they were good buddies? That didn't make any sense. Of course, I'm sure Balor still wants to rip Leo Rush's genitals out of him or whatnot, if you want to say it that way. That makes no sense at all. I'm sorry, rip out his vocal cords. That makes no freaking sense sometimes. Anyways, but so that makes sense either. But I was hoping that Drew McIntyre, if Raw was to win this match, that McIntyre would be the sole survivor and the dominating one in this match. But then Strowman got in, and then Team SmackDown started beating down on Strowman, and then they had Shane McMahon take him out on the table. And then we had some other good spots in this match for a while. We had some good action with Finn Balor and Jeff Hardy, Finn Balor and Rey Mysterio. Like Finn had some good sequences going for him for a while. But then he got eliminated, but I was like, okay, that's fine. But it would have been nice to see him again. Both Finn Balor and Dolph Ziggler were the only people eliminated for Raw. The only ones that actually got eliminated. I believe Ziggler was eliminated by Shane. But Mysterio eliminated Balor. But then and for a while, honestly, we had some good action going on here. But then we had Miz help trying to get Shane to his coast to coast. He got to get Ziggler out. And then Braun Strowman comes back. As soon as Shane goes hit another coast to coast on who was pretty much walking like an old man at the time. He goes hit a coast to coast on Bobby Lashley, who's being held down by the Miz. In the air, Braun Strowman takes him out with a clothesline and pins him. Then he takes out Jeff Hardy. Then he takes out Rey Mysterio. Then he takes out the Miz. And then he takes out Shane McMahon. Just like that, the rest of Team SmackDown, gone. And I'm getting sick of this happening because until Braun Strowman is actually being capitalized with either winning the Universal title or something to capitalize on, which, I'm sorry, the only way to capitalize him is putting the damn Universal title on him. But you're going to keep booking him in these situations and taking away the spotlight from, again, no offense, I'm starting to not really be a fan of the Strowman character anymore because he'll get the spotlight in situations like this, and then it'll lead to absolutely nothing for him. He's done this how many times? The next route for him to go is the Universal freaking Championship. If they were going to do that many eliminations, again, it should have been Drew McIntyre. Bobby Lashley barely did anything in this match. And then, Strowman, wasn't eliminated, of course. And then, of course, after the match, Corbin comes in and tries to blindside him from behind and then runs away with, Lashley and Ziggler, because apparently they're all three buddies now. Again, if Raw was going to win, which I predicted Raw to win, it should have been McIntyre being the one to dominate, get the most eliminations, and not Strowman. Strowman had nothing to prove in this match. Again, Strowman is getting all he wants now. He's getting what he wants. He's getting his Universal title rematch, probably at the Royal Rumble. I don't know if he'll beat Brock, but who knows? And my opinion is, again, unless Braun Strowman wins the Universal title, honestly, I'm kind of done with Braun. Like, yeah, I still think he's entertaining, but I don't want him taking the spotlight like this. Again, it should have been Drew dominating the match, I felt. And even though I wasn't a fan of Samoa being eliminated early, I was like, okay, at least it was Drew McIntyre. But that was the only thing he did this entire match was eliminate Samoa Joe. And then Shane McMahon appears doing the big highlight moments of the time because he's a McMahon. Again, no respect to you, Shane, but you walked around like an old man for a portion of this match. You shouldn't have been, the big stud. Somebody else could have, replaced you in this match. AJ Styles never been in this match before. Randy Orton's, of course, been in it how many times, but he probably could have been in and put on a better showing. He had history with Rey Mysterio, so maybe that could for their feud. If you want a good Raw versus SmackDown Men's Survivor Series match, look at the 2016 match. That match of both teams had people on the teams who, despite having some tensions with each other, still, created that for the chaos and whatnot in the match they had, that's why that was one of my favorite Survivor Series matches. That and the Team Cena versus Team Authority match. Those two are my only two favorite matches for Survivor Series that I'll ever go back and watch ever again, are those two. Terrible finish, though. Again, I was just, as soon as Braun took out Shane, I'm just like, I'm done. I'm done. So that match pissed me off. All right, let's get to the Raw Women's. Well, it was supposed to be just, Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey champion. But, of course, Becky got hurt thanks to Nia Jax. So now Ronda Rousey was taking on Charlotte. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, just give me a good match. Just give me a good match. And I had picked Ronda to win the match because, as I kept saying, before this match, my worry was that if Charlotte would have won this match, clean, of course, she would have been making a case for, again, another women's championship opportunity. I do not want Charlotte to be the one to take the title off of Becky. If anything, I thought maybe they'll turn Asuka heel. That way, she could claim that, she was offended that Becky didn't pick her to face Ronda Rousey. But that's not happening now, because Charlotte turned heel at the end of this match. And the match I thought was pretty good. Of course, one thing I guys mentioned also, Ronda, get rid of that eye makeup. It doesn't fit you. It just looks weird. I'm not crazy about it at all whatsoever. But obviously from the beginning of the get-go, the story I was seeing here is Charlotte was taking Ronda, to a whole different level. Again, before this, Nia's only had matches against the likes of Alicia Fox, I think Mickie James, Nia Jax, Alexa Bliss, and Nikki Bella. Which, even those pay-per-view matches, they weren't all terrible, but there's only so much Ronda could have done. So I don't blame Ronda for not having, good opponents so far, and for her Raw Women's Championship matches she's had so far. I think for the most part she did well against Charlotte. I think she handled her pretty well, showing that she had to adapt and show off she get a little more aggressive with her and whatnot. And I think she still did that. And that's pretty much the story got throughout this match. Of course, there was a time where Charlotte elbowed Ronda right in the jaw, and her mouth started to bleed a little bit. So that was pretty significant, as well as this was, a match literally of, Ronda's first test against one of them. Well, then the ending was a little weird. Charlotte was outside taking her time, but then she got back in the ring, but then she stepped right back out. I'm like, okay, she broke the count, but she's taking her breather. So then Ronda gets out, and I think she's going to make a loop around the ring and just try to, run down Charlotte like a freight train. All of a sudden, here comes a kendo stick. Bam! Disqualification. Charlotte's using the kendo stick. I'm like, whoa. What's going on here? And Charlotte starts beating down Ronda viciously with the kendo stick. I think she was a couple chair shots. And originally, the referees got involved in the match, and broke them away. Of course, Ronda's down. Charlotte starts to circle around the ring, and it looks like she's starting to leave. I'm like, this isn't over. I don't think this is over. Charlotte turns around, comes back into the ring, and starts viciously assaulting Ronda Rousey. She even did a natural selection with planting Ronda's face into the steel chair. And then she put the chair around Ronda's neck, and I'm like, no. You're going to choke her windpipe. This is a human being. Don't do this. Smashes the chair, crushes Ronda Rousey's neck. Yeah, she probably didn't, wasn't breathing as heavy as I thought she would, but she was beating her down. And, of course, we were getting a thank you Charlotte chant and a bunch of boos on Ronda, which, again, I'm not sure why people were booing Ronda. I know, again, some people have a little bit of a sour thing with Ronda because, they'd rather see other people as Raw Women's Champion. But, again, I'm sure her opponents are more the problem here than Ronda as champion herself. But I think, of course, Charlotte was getting the more thank you Charlotte chance because, I had the respect for her because she, went through with this pretty much. Again, I already talked about it a little bit more earlier, but I'll talk about, of course, a little bit more in my turn alert against how I'm still a little worried, though, that I'm hoping this is not, just Charlotte and Becky being like a heel duo. Again, can't be for Becky. Becky needs to be the baby face. Needs to happen. Especially with Charlotte tweeting out, boo the woo, screw you, immediately after this segment was done. But an awesome finish. I mean, I know it was a disqualification ending, but Ronda did get the win. But obviously, we're probably getting this match again at WrestleMania. We'll probably get Becky and Ronda at the Royal Rumble, which if that happens, cool with me because the match does need to happen. But wow, this and with Becky more as a babyface, but still, with that the same thing, but don't have Becky being full-fledged heel. Again, don't have almost choked my spit. Don't have Becky and Charlotte be a heel duo. Make Becky be a full-fledged babyface. There's no reason why she needs to be a heel now. No reason at all. She's won the crowd big time. People are chanting her like crazy. Becky even said thank you, acknowledged the crowd in a good way this past week on SmackDown. You can't bring it back as a heel now and completely just cut that out. You can't. Becky is the women's modern era Stone Cold Steve Austin. Don't screw this up, WWE. Do not do this. Yes, thank you for turning Charlotte heel. Definitely needed to happen, but don't keep Becky as a heel. Don't. I mean it. Okay? Got it? Okay. Main event time. At the match that I thought was going to be the main event after what happened on SmackDown last week. And obviously, it's a huge match for the person involved in this match. Daniel Bryan, the WWE Champion, taking on the Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar. I like the backstage segment we got earlier with them trying to talk to Bryan again. And, of course, just like the Fallout segment we had from SmackDown last week, Bryan literally just kind of like gave him that goofy-looking look like, you really think you're going to get the answer out of me? Look what I got look on his face, pretty much. He didn't say anything, and he kept going. So Bryan came out, which, if he's going to be a heel, they got to tweak that music a little bit, because that music still sounds like, oh, here comes the hero. He's coming out. He comes out, look around the crowd. He starts to tease a yes chance. Of course, no one else is doing it because he has some heel heat. At this time, of course. He stops doing it, and he kind of starts crawling and turns around. Was that him pretty much showing a sign of, I've turned my back on all of you? Not too sure. So while he's chilling outside, Brock Lesnar comes out. And at first, Brock didn't come out. It took him a little while longer to come out. I'm like, huh, what's going on here? But then he came out in the end. And of course, Bryan playing the mind games and like literally in the ring mocking Brock Lesnar the way he just jumps around like he does and whatnot. And I'm just like, dude, you are asking to get your ass whooped here, pretty much. So the match starts, and at first I was scared. My friend and I were real scared with how it was starting, that it was going to end up like Kevin Owens and Goldberg at Fastlane, with Bryan just like stepping out of the ring, taking his time and whatnot before getting squashed. And I thought, oh, don't tell me they're going to bring out AJ Styles to distract Daniel Bryan. And then he gets, squashed by Brock Lesnar, which once again, like, why would helping Brock Lesnar win a match him any favors? Like, he's the ultimate bad guy pretty much. So why would that happen? But then the match actually starts doing it. And like Larry said, for the first few minutes, I was really holding my breath. When Brock started doing those German suplexes, the first one looked like Daniel landing on his head. Or like the back of his neck. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, it was scary. Like, I had not been scared for a moment of wrestling since the first time I saw Shane McMahon jump off Hell in a Cell, which is at WrestleMania 32. I'm like, oh my goodness, no. Excuse me. Now, and oh goodness, there's a 1,000 layer on my wall near my crucifix. I'll get it later. But I was scared for Bryan. Like, that's the one thing on this match. There's two things I was worried about this match. One, I was worried that Brock Lesnar wouldn't give a crap and it'll be just a crappy 5-minute squash. Two, again, I was concerned for Bryan's health because I was just worried about him. And after a while, it looked like Brock was starting to do just like, the belly-to-belly suplexes. That way it'd be easier for Bryan to land on his back. So if they did that just for Bryan's safety, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm fine with that. Thank you for, thank you, Brock, for at least, taking concerns on that. But then things kind of changed when Daniel Bryan broke out of an F5, or I'm sorry, he did it. Brock hit one F5 on Bryan, and it looked like he was going to pin him like that. Just stop. Because again, that's the point where I was like, just stop. This is scaring me. Bryan's going to get another head injury, but he picks Bryan up, wanted to continue to punish him. And Brock's starting to get booed really loud again, saying, all day. And Bryan, of course, now a heel, did one heel move in this match. He kicked when Brock went for another F5, He didn't get it all because they bumped the referee down, and Bryan didn't, and he couldn't see it, but Bryan hit Brock with a low blow, which I thought, okay, if Bryan's gonna win this match, he's probably gonna resort some type of heel tactic. And yes, obviously, if Bryan was still a baby face and doing that, that still wouldn't look completely good on him because they Bayley won the Raw Women's Championship thanks to help from Sasha Banks last year. So I can see why, babyface Daniel Bryan giving Lesnar a low blow would not look, too innocent either. It was like a hypocrite. Of course, he could have just taken out his leg or something if he was still a babyface. But he hits the running knee, and I'm like, oh my goodness, don't tell me he's actually going to do this. But Brock kicks out of it. But Daniel Bryan just went to town for kicking the crap out of Brock Lesnar. And the crowd, good amount of it was still getting into it. And that's got me still thinking. I'm sitting there like, okay, this is exactly what I was concerned about. Yes, Daniel Bryan turned heel. And if it was just with him immediately going to his continued program with AJ Styles, cool. But he turned heel and immediately faced the ultimate bully in Brock Lesnar. I'm like, how is that going to give you heat? Kicking Brock Lesnar in the nuts is not going to give you heat. People are going to actually enjoy it because he deserves a wake-up call pretty much, even though, again, it doesn't make you look too innocent when it comes to winning a match. But still, I don't think this match was great. But as far as it giving Bryan heel heat, it did work. It was giving me hope that Bryan was going to win this match with how, he was taking the fight to Brock Lesnar. I was a little scared also. Bryan did a suicide dive. Well, Lesnar caught him, of course. But I thought Bryan stopped doing those. And I actually was hoping he would stop doing them because of his head injuries. Like, what if he run into the wall? That's how he originally suffered his first neck injury. We had that match with Randy Orton on Raw in 2013. But there was a couple 4 times I was like Bryan was going to win the match. One thing I wish I would have happened in this matchup because Bryan did have the yes lock on Lesnar. Of course, the yes lock doesn't look like it's like that vicious of a submission if you're facing a guy like Lesnar. So I was hoping Bryan would have resorted to a different type of submission, like that heel hook he did on Big Cass. Like I wanted to see him trying to put that on Brock Lesnar like that. I wanted to at least see Bryan have yes, I always try his yes lock one time or whatever if he wants to call it something different else since he's the heel. Cool with me. But I wanted to see a second sequence involving a submission that looks even more deadlier. That makes it look even more likely that Brock would tap out, even if Brock wouldn't. Because after Brock broke out of the yes lock again, I think Bryan went for another running knee or whatnot, or one of the baseball slides when he caught him, hit the F5, to get the victory. So I was like, rats. Like I thought maybe they would pull off the win for Daniel Bryan since he just turned heel. So he lost in strong fashion, I thought at least. But again, my problem with this is, again, you just turn heel, and the first thing you have him do is you face Brock Lesnar. How's Daniel Bryan, a guy who, his momentum was going down, of course, but, there's still a lot of people, of course, like me and several other people who probably still, want to see that Cinderella story and get that title back. How is him getting what he wanted to get back, his WWE Championship, and even though he's turned heel to do so, he immediately faces Brock Lesnar. Like, how is that going to give him heel heat? Like, that's the problem I had with him immediately, with him turning heel again. If he would have just turned heel on Styles and then not had this match with Brock Lesnar, which again, it was a great match, it was a great main event, and disputed with AJ Styles, I think the transition would have been smoother to digest. But again, the fact that he literally was a heel against Brock Lesnar just to kick him in the balls, I'm just like, okay, come on, you could have just had him just chop block his leg, weaken his knee. Because to me, what's he gonna brag about? Like, is he gonna say, oh, I saw an opportunity to get to Brock Lesnar, so that's why I did what I did to AJ Styles? And if he won, he could gloat about it to AJ Styles, prove that he's better than AJ Styles. But to me, I think AJ Styles, I still like the match with Styles and Lesnar a little bit more than the match with Bryan and Lesnar. But the match with Bryan and Lesnar was great. We got the match we wanted for for a long time, guys. And even though Bryan didn't win, I was still pleased with it. But again, it wasn't the right move to start giving Bryan more heel heat, I feel, in my opinion. But that's how he went off the air, with Daniel Bryan, of course, having another strange look on his face. And once again, what has gone into Daniel Bryan? We'll find out, of course, Tuesday night on SmackDown, even though people are going to be suffering some consequences because SmackDown got swept, even though they won the pre-show match. But once again, it didn't count, guys. So before I check the live chat, let me just check the Twitter for the polls. 6 votes so far. My poll for what grade would you give SmackDown? Give Survivor Series. 6 votes 33% said A, 33% said B, 17% said C, and 17% said D. And then what show did you on War this weekend? War Games or Survivor Series? 4 votes, all went to War Games. My grade, again, because there was 4 matches on this card I enjoyed. It was the main event, Ronda and Charlotte, the Cruiserweight Championship match, and Nakamura and Rollins. The other matches were just average, just there. The only match that I absolutely, the only match I can say I absolutely hated was the tag title match. I mean, there was parts of the men's Survivor Series match I liked, but I hated the finish. I hated the finish of the women's Survivor Series match as well. So again, it's mostly the finishes and this whole idea that the only thing on the line was Baron Corbin's job. So Raw had to sweep SmackDown Live and make them all look like fools in order to do so. And I hated that because, again, why would we want to see Baron Corbin hold on to his job, if you know what I mean? Because he has white heat on him at the moment. So because of that, I only give this pay-per-view, I'm sure, with the matches that we had, could have had like a B or a B minus, I felt. But because of those, I didn't like the results and of the pay-per-view and, most of the finishes come out in these matches. I got to give this pay-per-view a C. A flat C. Of course, if it wasn't for those last 2 matches, it probably would have got like a D or D plus. But the 2 matches capitalizing, I'll give it a C, a flat C. And of course, NXT War Games 2 was a better show. And 13 viewers. I had a lot of viewers on this stream. So thank you guys also for all the viewers on this stream. Let me check the live chat, of course, before I check out. Let me see here. I think we were, where he said, yes, haters suck it. This show was missing a lot of people. Elias, which would have been nice to have, especially with this recent face turn, which, again, has been awesome for him. Again, the wrestling ability has to improve, but the character is there. He's nailing to a T. Randy Orton, which would have been fine. AJ Styles for sure. Becky Lynch, big time missed. Andrade Cien Almas, he could have had a match. Shelton Benjamin. Sucks see Shelton not really getting booked much anymore these days. But I mean, he's not the biggest deal for not missing this show. Dean Ambrose, which he should have at least, I felt they should have at least had him attack Rollins during that backstage interview. And then Kurt Angle, probably he should have been there. The Miz will turn soon, Lauren says. Again, I'm just still not digging a Miz face turn right now. I'm not. I mean, yes, he showed some signs of more babyface thing with how he worked with Shane, but he also showed some heel side to him as well. So I still don't really think Miz should be a face. I don't think he would work on it. Joe was injury prone tonight, in case you didn't know. That's why he didn't last long. Oh, thanks for confirming that. I think WWE will ever make an Elias CD. They should. Glad they did Elias Elite. It was shit anyway. Whatever you were referring to there, Lauren. Miz was kind of working like a face tonight. He kind of was. Joe is officially buried. Why doesn't Vince like him? I mean, it may be because, again, he's injury prone. Who knows? But again, he definitely deserves a title run. So sad that it's funny. Didn't know that. That's cool. The troll guy thing. Yeah, pretty much. Haters gonna hate. They will be buried by you, Mike. Yeah, that's why I blocked them pretty much in a buried alive match. Haha, nice. Excellent match. Alexander should have came out and turned heel. He's bland as hell, Jay said. I mean, again, I definitely was thinking, like, what if Alexander did interfere? Like, I wasn't going to rule out the possibility of Alexander turning heel, especially with Mustafa Ali passing him up like that. If Ali, I mean, Alexander and Ali have had their fair share of matches this year that were really good. I feel like if they ever have another match, one of them's going to be heel. And months prior to WrestleMania time, I did kind of sense maybe Ali could turn heel, but they could turn Alexander heel. You never know. But with Ali losing like he did tonight, maybe not yet, but I would not have ruled that out. But if Alexander's not turned heel on 205 Live, put him on SmackDown, feud with Shinsuke Nakamura for that U.S. title. That's what I say they should do. 205, Mustafa Ali is definitely amazing with all the bumps he takes. 205 Live has definitely improved. Why? Because Triple H took over. That's why. Exactly why Jay said. The crowd was definitely garbage through most of the show. I do agree. What's up, Alfonso Gonzalez? Hey Jay, I was there tonight calling me garbage. No, I don't think he was. I think he was, oh, my bad. Please don't fight here, guys. Elite Squad loved the 205 chant. Definitely agreed. Mark says that I don't watch 205 live. I only watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT, which, it's definitely understandable. Because again, like, there's just so much content out there. But if you ever do have time, I do recommend checking out 205 Live. It's definitely a lot better than, of course, it was. I think the crowd was pretty good. I don't know, and they were definitely savage. Hope Vince heard the 205 chants, definitely, but he's like, no, those are not my boys. I didn't make them, whatnot. But screw you, Vince. Oh, sorry, screw you, Vince. Should be a sign that the 205 Live guys should never be on the kickoff show again, for sure. Alfonso had a blast, which glad to hear that, my friend. We're yet all near where Enzo was tonight. They do deserve a spot on the actual show. This was the first time, actually, since Triple H took over, not including Super Showdown, that the Cruiserweight Championship was on the main show since last year's TLC pay-per-view when it was Enzo and Kalisto. That's the last time that the Cruiserweight Championship was on the main show, excluding Super Showdown, because I don't count that one. Hope you booed Nia hard. Definitely hope so too. Corbin, McIntyre, Rush, and Lashley screwed Braun over. They left him laying in the ring, and they just used him to get a victory. Pretty much. Yes, I am tongue-tied. Loudest boos the night were for Nia. Good. Truth is pretty funny. It's better humor than Drake Maverick peeing his pants. Oh, for sure. Again, I used to hate R-Truth's humor until he came to SmackDown this year, and he started pairing with Carmella. So he wanted to pin Carmella. That's when I actually started to actually like Truth again. Like, literally, if they want to give a mid-card push right now, put a U.S. title on him, go for it. Be my guest. He is definitely winning me over now. He wasn't before, especially with the Golden Truth. Ugh, I hate that team. Let's see here. Would have loved to experience something like that live. Truth was the MVP of all segments tonight for sure. Strowman always looks like an afterthought. Feels like a fake push now. I mean, no offense, but it's true. Like, how many more times is he going to get these opportunities? They're not going to capitalize on him in the big moments. I definitely agree. Like, that's why I'm starting to be like, I mean, I still like to get a Braun Strowman t-shirt. I definitely think he's done great. But once again, if they're not going to capitalize on him, why should I still take him, like, limiting 4 guys from a match? Seriously. It just pisses me off. No end. Keep on telling the truth. Will do. He's on my roll tonight, isn't he? I guess so. What can I say? Quick eliminations. Maverick penis pants, 2 stalling from Seth and Nakamura, Ronda brutalized by Charlotte pretty much more than anyone ever did that to her from UFC, and Joe pretty much being buried, which that was a lot of bad there. Ronda looks like a raccoon. Yeah, I hate that makeup. Every time she has it, she tries to some weird new look. It was definitely a bizarre show, I agree. Great heel turn, but Ronda didn't deserve all those boos from the crowd. Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure why Ronda got booed. Again, I don't mind Ronda at all. I mean, I understand, yeah, Vince is probably making a lot of money off her. That's why she's in the main event team. But again, she's more just been given not the greatest opponents. I mean, she was great in a mixed tag match, but the only women opponent she wrestled was Stephanie McMahon. Nia Jackson, though, is not too great. Alexa Bliss is good for what you're going to get. I mean, great on the microphone, but in the ring, not so good. Although I'm starting to wonder, since she's had such a history of concussions, maybe that's why her wrestling has been toned down or whatnot. She doesn't really take too many bumps or whatnot. But that's all most she do there. The Nikki Bella stuff, don't get me started on that. Well, again, her match with Nikki Bella I thought was passable, but again, the reason why I soured on it much as it was the freaking main event. Becky and Charlotte should have been the main event of that show. But anyways, I swear I had the same exact thought when she came out, pretty much. LA is her home state also. That's crazy. Yeah, she got booed. She doesn't look like a raccoon. She looks like a vampire with the red paint. Possibly. Elite Squad's checking out. Thanks for joining us, Elite Squad. Thank you for joining us. Have a great night, Elite Squad. They won't hear you, Mike. No, they won't, because they don't want to. And then Brian looks badass. American Dragon vibes. Yes. Larry, I tweeted out his rant C-Raw video to Triple H, Stephanie, and Vince. No response. Of course I'm not going to respond because they're cowards. Brock come out to the library silence. Pretty much, yeah. I know I checked once. Don't get your hopes up with getting in contact with WWE. Would be nice, but nope, not going to happen. He had to try it. we don't count to them, but respect for doing that, Josh. Props to you. Maybe someday they check out one of the videos. Maybe. I don't get these Brock matches anymore. And like the crowd said, for sure, same old shit. Which once again, how is that? If he's doing the same old shit, how is that going to make us hate Daniel Bryan? Again, if he. Again, I'm not saying I'm mad he turned Daniel Bryan heel. It's just like it was just an awkward situation once again. How are you going to get the heat on Daniel Bryan if he's going to face Brock Lesnar in his first match as a heel, you know? Just let me see here. Now the mixed match challenge, Charlotte's now with Jeff Hardy. It was just for this week, apparently. I guess I just wanted to sell Styles beat down from Bryan's. That's why they put them together. But I think I heard Styles should be back next week, of course. Yeah, again, that match didn't count, though, the Elite Squad. I wonder if Bryan and Miz would team up now. Would be curious if they did. But again, I just still don't see Miz working as a babyface. Kickoff show, SmackDown Live 1, Raw nothing, SmackDown 1 a kickoff show for sure. TNQ Power gave the show a C-. Elite Squad gave it a B. War Games definitely deserves an A. I just don't get why they feel the need, according to all the rumors, to turn Miz babyface soon. Again, the other thing that sucks about the Bryan heel turn is that he pretty much kind of got in the way of the Miz's Miz's opportunity in the main event. Again, he was ready for the main event, so that kind of sucks for him pretty much. Hopefully that gets scrapped again. Gives it a 3. Wait, hold on, I bumped something. Okay, where was I at? I was here. Okay. We'll give it a 3 out of 10. Elite Squad like Survivor Series 2017 better than 2018. Again, I missed something here. Right here. War Games still kills Survivor Series for sure. I'm finally getting on board Gargano. His heel character is interesting, and I'm hyped for next week's. I mean, definitely, yeah, definitely. I mean, I know, again, people say Gargano is heel. I mean, I definitely think he is heel, but not full-fledged yet, as I keep saying. Okay, yes, team up. I think to me, it'll be him teaming up with Ciampa before I can consider him a full-on heel. But again, that heel run's not going to last like that long, just until he, wins the mind games over with Ciampa. Came over tomorrow and Tuesday to see if we get any call-ups besides Lars. I'm not sure if Lars is going to come up right away, but he's definitely come up soon. Maybe Cassius Ohno or maybe Velveteen Dream or Nikki Cross. I guess not Shayna Baszler yet. So those are my predictions who could be coming up. Could we see a heel DIY teaming back up? That's what I think it is. Heel DIY because Johnny needs to be close to Ciampa when the time is right. He breaks out and can fight Ciampa again. Exactly. That is not a prediction, Larry. That is a spoiler, as you say. Good words. Mark's checking out. Good night, Mark. Thank you for joining us. By the way, side question. Will there be turn alerts in the future for NXT UK stars? I loved Wolfgang's heel turn. I saw a heel in him since the first episode. I mean, I probably could have done a heel thing for Wolfgang, but NXT UK to me is still establishing their stars and what direction they're going. So that's why I didn't do any turn alerts on them yet. But I will do turn alerts for NXT UK stars like when they happen. But I felt Wolfgang's more so just to like more establish his character. I felt on the show. That's why I didn't get around to doing that one. But I will be doing one for Charlotte right after the show. Even though I've been talking for almost 2 hours, which is completely cool because that's been worth talking about with all you guys. I agree. We do need to see Banks and Rousey. Everybody's checking out. Elias, Elite Squad, interesting idea. He's back again. Hello again. Do you watch Grim Toy Show, GTS Wrestling? I do not actually, but I'll check that out. Yeah, Suplex Creed, Challenge Inter Paul Heyman. Watched a few times, crazy stuff. It's gonna be weird to see AJ without the championship for sure, definitely. I still need to watch that 365 special also. I bet he kind of feels naked without championship for sure. Styles is a 2-time champion. Elite Squad Grim has a crazy channel. I have to correct myself, not full heel. That is true, Mike. I finally realized that again, because if he's still going after Tommaso Ciampa, to me, that's why I still say he's more of a tweener because obviously Alistair got on his way. I do honestly. I mean, I'm not saying to be violent, but I kind of feel the same way if somebody got in my way. But I don't know if I beat the shit out of them unless they literally got physical with me. But that's why I keep saying that I don't think that it's a full. He's a full on heel. He's embracing that dark side slowly, but again, I don't think he'll fully embrace it until he teams back up with Tommaso Ciampa. That's my opinion. Can we say that Velveteen Dream is officially face? Yeah, I think he is too. Again, I just want to see his work a little bit more before I officially say yes. But I do think he is just about also officially a baby face for sure. But definitely do that. But yeah, guys, thanks for stopping a lot of chat. I mean, I didn't answer your question, Elite Squad. I mean, I watched, Larry stuff, TA Couponers couponing stuff, the Lex Man stuff. Most of my friends I watch here on YouTube, I gotta say, but I also watch like What Culture and Wrestle Talk and a couple other ones. Of course, I watch some YouTube gamers profiles as well, so I do some gaming work on his channel as well. But I mean, I'd say in chat, guys, but it's getting late. I want to do the turn alert real quick and take a quick shower, then maybe do the next part of my Harry Potter Let's Play also before I go to bed. But yeah, guys, so of course, before I go up the air, let me just go over my schedule for this week. Tomorrow night, I will be out visiting some friends, so I will not be able to review Raw right away. I'll review when I get home, though, after I check the highlights and whatnot. Tuesday, I will be able to watch SmackDown live immediately. Tomorrow during the day, I may do my Major League Baseball end of the year wrap up video. Also, I may do that because all the awards are out now. Wednesday, I start my holiday job. Again, I'm working part time at Amazon over the holidays, makes my extra cash. So I start that Wednesday. I'm working like 12 to 3:30 for my orientation and whatnot. So I will catch up on NXT 205 Live and NXT UK when I can, because that's also the night of Survivor, and also getting ready, get my house ready for Thanksgiving on Thursday. I'm not sure again what my work schedule is after that. If I'm working Thursday night at all, I probably will not be able to do the special stream of the week. But if I am not working, I'll probably be able to do it because my family comes over for lunch, for Thanksgiving, since most of them go to somewhere else in the evening for dinner. So so for a while, special live streams might be moved to Fridays because I'm not going to be working Fridays over the holidays. Yeah, other than that, again, just stay tuned for just the more stuff of my video game Let's Plays to come on my channel. And also I'll do my TLC card time this week. But again, just be patient with me with stuff going on for the holidays. And again, with me working an extra job over the holidays just to, get some extra cash, since it's a sucky time of the year for wedding videographers, unless I get a more consistent job in my career. But your boy's still doing pretty good. But guys, once again, I checked the live chat one more time, but again, I don't want to keep distracting myself, and I want to, get the turn alert recorded before I go to bed. But guys, again, what are your thoughts on Survivor Series again? Good stuff, bad stuff, inconsistent show. Wasn't pleased with some of the finishes and the results. That's why I gave it a C. And again, War Games is definitely a better show this weekend. So, guys, what grade would you give Survivor Series 2018? And what show did you enjoy more, War Games or Survivor Series? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure as always to click my like and subscribe to my channel. And follow me on Twitter as well at DemandAirborne93. And guys, thank you all for checking in. I'll see you guys tomorrow for my live review of Monday Night Raw. Or maybe if you join me for my baseball end of the year video, also I might do it tomorrow before I go out to visit my friends. So until then, guys, I'm checking out. Have a great night. Sleep well. And peace out, everybody.